friends. Hello. Today we're going to be discussing breaking immigration news with regard to the new bill passed by the House. Very important change that occurred in our immigration in our community. Extremely important because it is basically affecting our immigration laws and what's going to happen with many undocumented. Extremely important change. Right now, it is passed by the House, but it's set to be voted by the Senate on Friday. So we're going to talk about the bill, what it is, and who may be affected by it. Very important. So thank you very much for joining. My name is Alina Shaltsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York. I am regularly conducting these live sessions during which I share with you the most recent immigration news and I answer your guys' questions live. So please say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what questions you have, because in the end, after my presentation is done, I usually go back and I read your questions loud and I answer them. So this is your chance to ask for free immigration question. And of course, say hello if you haven't subscribed to my news, to my YouTube, to my Facebook, TikTok, however you like to connect, please do so. Say hello and like and share the stream so that more people will be able to get the news. And perhaps it will help them also to watch out and know their rights better. Or perhaps you're just here to talk about Trump. It's fine as well, as long as you are respectful. I don't mind. So thank you guys very much for joining. And we're going to start our very important discussion about this new bill that was passed today by the House and is set to be voted by the Senate. I expect it to be actually passed. I do not believe that the Senate is going to say no to it, and I expect it to be signed by the president. I guess it's going to be Trump. I assume that that's how it will be timed, that it's going to be out for a signing by Trump. And I'm going to tell you why. So what happened here is that the new immigration bill is called Laken Raleigh Act. You could have heard about it before because it was voted before, but it didn't pass, but now it passed by the House. And this particular act creates new basis as to when ICE or federal government must detain an undocumented immigrant. And this basis includes the following incidents: when the immigrant is charged, arrested for, convicted of, or admits committing elements sufficient to find them potentially responsible for burglary, theft, larceny, or shoplifting. In other words, it tremendously expands grounds for mandatory detention. If in the past somebody had shoplifting, now, if the bill passes and becomes the law, ICE will have right to mandatory detain you. I'm going to explain to you what it is later. If you are charged, not convicted yet, but charged with larceny, burglary, theft, shoplifting in a value of more than $100, now you also must be detained by ICE. The mechanism as to how and why federal government would want to detain you is also explained in the bill. If the federal government fails to detain you and commits other violations under the bill, the state now may sue the federal government to recover damages that such an inaction caused. It means that federal government would want to detain an immigrant who falls under criteria under this bill, because otherwise they will be sued by the state. That's how the encouragement to fulfill this bill is going to be set into motion. And of course, in the past, there was a lot of criticism about this bill, because how can you even regard somebody as guilty when they're only charged with a crime? Why the person who's charged with a crime will be treated worse than the actual criminal who committed and was found guilty of some other crime? But that's what it is. Currently, federal government mandatory detains only people who are found convicted of aggravated felony. An aggravated felony is a term of art. It includes various types of crimes, but usually pretty serious offenses, not the shoplifting. Okay? Not the shoplifting. And that's why this bill is so important. Shoplifting is one of the most common crimes committed in every state by anyone, immigrant or non-immigrant. And imagine that the value of the goods is only $100. And the bill doesn't even say that you actually have to be found guilty of that. It's enough that somebody accuses you and the cops are being called on you. It's enough already under this bill for you to be detained if you don't have status. Okay? That's why this bill is so tremendously important, because it basically expands the cases when non-documented will be detained. But the bill does more than that. It also says that if the federal government releases somebody from custody and that somebody causes damages to the state, if federal government is found in violation of limitations on immigration parole, means that gives out parole to everyone or too many paroles, right? If federal government fails to detain those who are ordered removed and releases and fails to properly inspect somebody who is seeking admission to the United States, the federal government can be sued by the state attorney general for damages. Again, this provision creates encouragement for the federal government to be as strict as possible with immigrants, with everybody, so that it will shield itself from lawsuits. This is why this bill is so, so important. Because now, if somebody potentially who's been ordered removed, has an order of removal, is not detained by the federal government without the good reason, then the federal government can be sued by the state government. That's what's happening here. Parole programs will be most likely, if the bill passes, canceled, right? Why? Because if the states can convince the federal court that the parole program is too broad, then again, federal government can be responsible for a lot of damages alleged in such a lawsuit. What do you do if you know that you can be sued? You're trying to do anything possible and everything possible to prevent the lawsuit, right? So that's what's happening. This is the bill that is passed by the House, and this is the enforcement, how it's going to be enforced, why the federal government would want to enforce it. It again is spelled in the bill, and it's going to be voted on by the Senate this coming Friday, unless it's going to be postponed. Again, I predict that it's going to be timed the way that it's going to be up to Trump, not Biden, for the bill to be signed. Okay, that's what's going to happen. So most likely, unless something changes, it will be passed and it will become part of our immigration system, which we will have to take into consideration. Of course, the actual implementation of the bill may vary from what I just described, just because it always is the case in the United States. There is always some sort of a lawsuit that stops all or part of the bill for a while or for forever. We're going to see what's going to happen, but this is what's going on and you need to know it. Why do you need to know it? Because you need to be prepared. right? That's what we are here for. We're here to be educated, and we're here to be prepared as to what's to come. It's actually very interesting because various immigration changes are already happening even before Trump actually took the office. For example, check this announcement out. Mexico drops migrants in troubled resort as it disperses them far from the United States border. Mexico started, according to this article, taking people away from the border and placing them somewhere else, making it look like they are doing something to alleviate the pressure on the United States border so that Trump will not be able to accuse Mexico of not doing anything. Very interesting move, I have to say. Of course, it's devastating to those immigrants who are trying to come to the United States to seek asylum because it deprives them of an opportunity. Another very interesting move is that there is a caravan, immigrant caravan, that is trying to get close to the United States, and that's one of the reasons why it cannot reach the United States, because apparently people are being transported to other locations so that the movement of the people does not look so crowded, and it seems like there are less people than there is. Well, guys, thank you very much for your gifts, for those of you who are watching me on TikTok. And now, if you would like to discuss this news or some other questions you have related to the United States immigration, I'll be very happy to answer them. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. So let's start with our questions. Thank you very much, guys, for your hearts. For those of you who are watching me on TikTok, shares and likes. For those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube. Hi, everyone. Let's see. Hi, user 704. I got A05 EED for pending asylum, but haven't received any approval letter. What's the reason? If you receive a pending asylum, usually you don't have A05 EED. You're going to have CO8. A05 you receive when you actually win your asylum case or granted withholding or removal, I believe. So, withholding or removal is A10. So I'm not sure why you were granted that A05. If you don't have the approval letter, you can just ask the government for a full copy of your file through USCIS FOIA request, and it should be there. Okay, it should be there. Hi, MC. I came through Mexico to the United States. I applied for asylum, but right now I have found love getting married. That's great. Congratulations to you. But if you were not paroled at the border, then you most likely will not be able to adjust based on that marriage to a U.S. citizen. Okay, you may look into I-601A route, but for that, you do have to close your immigration court case if you have one open. Okay, that's what's happening. Yes, this answers your question if you can get green cards through marriage. Hi, Samir. Can asylum pending will have issues, or how long take to receive interview and you doing your visa? All right, so it seems you have several questions here. If you're found in violation of the Laken Riley Act, if it passes and becomes the law, and if you only have asylum pending, yes, you will be subject to the detention, okay? Because asylum pending is not status, it shields you from removal. How long does it take to receive an interview for asylum case? It really is a lottery. You can wait only for 60 days if you filed recently, or you can wait for your asylum interview 8 to 10 years. Really do not know how it's being calculated. Some people are being called early, some people are getting stuck in a backlog. And yes, we do handle U visa cases, okay? Hi, Kate. My cancellation removal was terminated without prejudice. Am I in danger of deportation? Yes. If you don't have status, you can be placed in removal proceedings again, and the government may move to remove you if you don't have any defenses to removal. All right. All right. Okay, let me see if we have more questions, and we have tons. I'm going to try to go through all of them. We'll see how well I'm going to do tonight. If I'm not going to be able to answer all of them, I'm sorry, I apologize. We're going to meet some other time then. All right, hi, Bitter Lemon. Yeah, Bitter Lemon. My only joint sponsor lives in another state, and I am trying to send off my concurrent filing before January 20th. Can they email me a copy of that part of the affidavit, or do I have to wait for it? No, you don't have to wait for it, guys. USCIS currently admits or takes copies of signatures. It's not a problem, right? And the only thing what you have to do is it has to be a copy of the wet signature. You cannot submit a PDF generated signature. The person who is signing the documents will have to print the page, and they will have to sign it, and then we'll have to scan it to you. That's how it works, okay? RSCLE, can I visit USA for 6 months period, return home, then return again for 6 months? I have a valid visa. They will not allow you to do that. They will not allow you to stay the full 6 months, then spend a little bit of time, and then come back. They usually, 99% of the time, if you come to the United States and you spend here full 6 months on a tourist visa, next time they're going to accuse you of working here without authorization and being a potential immigrant. I guarantee you that it's going to happen, especially with the new administration. Okay. How impossible if my husband is on child support? Will that be a problem? Your husband pays probably child support. And will it be a problem for what? Let me know. Is he sponsoring you, or he's being sponsored? What's happening? Okay. All right. Hi, Capo. My case is being actively reviewed for 2 years. I'm an asylum pending case. Can I apply for advanced parole? Anybody can file for advanced parole if they have asylum pending case, but not in court. So before you are placed in removal proceedings, you can file for advanced parole. I have to warn you, it's very, very difficult to receive it if you have asylum pending only. They give it, but they give it only in very specific cases, usually related to medical grounds. All right. Okay, let me see. We have more questions. All right. Hi, Wilson. Currently, I am working here in North Dakota, United States, with a J2 visa. My grandfather is an American U.S. Army. Would it qualify me for a higher visa? Not sure what higher visa you mean, but if you would like to adjust your status based on your parents' sponsorship, first you have to demonstrate that you've been in legal status throughout your stay in the United States. Your parents' petition has to be current, and if you're married, it seems that you are. Petition for a married son or daughter of a US citizen is taking about 13 years to be current, sometimes, depending on the country you're from, typically 8 to 10 years. We can check the most recent visibility, and you're going to have better understanding of that. But usually it's about at least 10 years on average. If you're from certain countries, it's forever, like the Philippines. And on top of that, is your J1 holder subject to 2-year residency requirement or not? It's also very, very important, okay? If they are subject, you are, as J2, will be subject to 2-year residency requirement as well. And there are certain complications related to that. It's not so easy to get rid of that requirement. Almost impossible if you're J2, okay? All right. Okay, here we have somebody says that they have J1 and they're subject. Thank you guys very much for the flower. It's very cute. Thank you for the gifts. So we have Ahmad here, and he says that he has a J1 status that is subject to 2-year foreign residency. I have spent more than 2 years outside of the United States, but not continuously, like 6 months here, 3 months here, in total more than 2 years. Can I adjust in the United States, or does it have to be continuous? No, it doesn't have to be continuous, but it must be your country, okay? It must be your home country. So that's very important. If you spent those 2 years somewhere else in the third country, then you didn't fulfill your requirement. A very interesting thing, guys, you have to also watch out for something called the skill list for J1 requirements. If your country was removed from the skill list, you may not have to fulfill the requirement on J1. I'm preparing a comprehensive blog on this J1 issue and 2-year residency requirement because it's a very popular question. It's going to explain when you can file for the waiver, when do you need the waiver, how to obtain one, and it's going to be available on my website by the end of the week. So don't forget to visit my website, sheltsova.com, for more free information. Hi, Chimecast. How long normally I-730 take? My petition for my son is still pending. Hi, Chime. I do not know when you filed your petition, but usually in my office, it's being approved within 4 to about 7, maximum 8 months. Okay, in my office. Again, I do not know. As I'm lucky, I just have cases that are straightforward. Some people report that it takes them 2 years to receive approval. I do not know why, because in our office it's been pretty fast. But again, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's case is different. So, you know, I would not be able to tell you, but usually it takes about 4 to 8 months max. Hi, Harriet. Applied for K1 July 2023. It was approved March 2024. U.S. citizen is still has the paperwork. Not sure what the question is. If you answer, if you rephrase it, maybe I'll be able to help you. Hi, Marsha. Our case transferred to Vermont Service Center on the 1st of in January, I guess, of 2024. How long wait for approval? CO9 category. CO9 category can be approved only if you filed for I-45. Okay, and you should have received it a long time ago. If you haven't received your work permit, I don't know why you haven't received it if you filed for one. But if you never filed I-45, I'm not surprised that you didn't receive it. Okay. All right. Is it still okay to file petition for parents who is out of status as soon as I turn 21? You can always file petition for your parents. Their status or lack of status doesn't affect your petition. I-130 petition is not affected by the status of the beneficiary. But the status of the beneficiary is important as to whether or not such a beneficiary may adjust status or get a green card in the United States once your I-130 is approved. And I would not know that because I need to know more information about your parents' entry to the United States, if they ever had to file for anything in terms of immigration and how it went, if they ever been charged with any crime and how it went, and if anyone tried to sponsor them in the past. Imagine that you have your mom or your papa and you're ready to file for them finally, but then you found out that long time ago, maybe before they met your parent, they were tried to be sponsored by somebody else, a US citizen, and the marriage didn't work out. Immigration filing didn't work out, didn't result in a green card. That all the immigration filing now can be a problem for your parent to receive a green card because your parent may be accused of immigration fraud in connection with that old marriage case. It's extremely complicated situation such as this. And if that happens, you guys have to work with an attorney, okay? All right. Hi, Ashfaq. Case pending in court, and I got marriage, and I have I-94. I guess that relates to the question whether or not you can adjust status. If you have I-94, you should have a parole. You're an arriving alien, then you should be able to adjust status usually, okay? Hi, Tesh. CBP officer has released on your own recognizance, have applied for asylum. I guess released you and you have applied for asylum. Is it fine or any problems later? In terms of specifically what issue? Please let me know. It seems that you've been placed in removal proceedings or should have been placed in removal proceedings and you filed for asylum to defend yourself from removal. Release on your own recognizance shouldn't be a problem by itself, okay? All right. I just got my parole stamp. What should I do next? Hi, user 902. It depends on why you received your parole. If it was a military parole based on the fact that you have a family member in the military and your parole in place was granted, now you need to see if you can adjust status and get a green card, okay? Otherwise, you can look into obtaining work permit, okay? Hi, Afghan boy, I got my asylum approval. What step or form I need to fill to get my green card? Okay. You need to use Form I-45 to file for your green card in the United States after you received your asylum, but you need to have something in mind. If less than a year is going to pass from the time of your approval for asylum and the time when USCIS considers your application for the green card, your application for the green card will be denied. So you need to time the situation the right way and make sure that you file perhaps 6 months after you receive your asylum grant, not to find yourself in a situation where you are going to waste the filing, okay? All right, let me see if we have more questions. Hi, Ashish. How long does it take for EAD based on asylum? The first one, only about 45 days. To renew it, it may take almost a year. Thank you, Time, for the dancing flowers. It was very, very cute. I finished my asylum interview in June since I didn't get the result. Oh, yes. So there are 2 asylum backlogs, guys. One is for the interview and one to get the decision after the interview. About 30% of the cases that have been called for the interview fall into a second asylum backlog for the decision after the interview. I've met clients who waited for their asylum interview decision for 2 and 4 years sometimes. Of course, if you wait for that long, now is the time to file that lawsuit. It's unbelievable what happened to them. So you just have to keep that in mind, that sometimes it does happen that you have to wait for a long time. But if you're waiting for, I would say, more than 8 months for your asylum interview result, consider a lawsuit at this point. I don't particularly favor lawsuits. They're expensive, but I mean, it's up to you what you want to do, but that's a very long time, right? But June is not that bad. So June, you still wait a little bit, okay? But another thing you have to keep in mind is this. If your country conditions change while you're waiting for your asylum interview, they may deny your case just because of that. If your country conditions change before you get your green card, they can file to get away the status, asylum status that they gave you. Don't think that it never happens. It does happen. Those poor people have to go through absolute nightmare. Where is my office, guys? My office is in New York. I have 2 locations, Syosset and Brooklyn. I see people in Syosset only at this time. Hi, John Doe. I spent over 6 months abroad due to my son's health situation. You probably spent over 6 months abroad, okay? Can I resume my citizenship process? You can, but you'll have to probably start the counting of your time, physical presence time again, because it's going to be very strict with this new administration. I don't think you'll be able to prevail on the issue of why you remained out of the United States for such a long time based on a humanitarian reason, I don't think that they're going to forgive you. Why do I say that? Because I've seen it before. People who got stuck through no fault of their own due to COVID now being denied citizenship. It's crazy, but it's true. They don't care. They really do not care. And the administration that's coming will care even less. All right. Thank you, Benham. Thank you very much for the flower. Hi, Sandy. I'm a resident and filed for my unmarried child over 21. How long will it take? At least 8 years, usually. And if the child marries in the process, the petition will be canceled automatically. Hi, Donnie07. How are you doing? I'm all right. My question is, I have been green card in the United States like for 12 years. All right. You believe me will be fine tomorrow. Donnie, what is your question? If it's okay to remain a green card holder in the United States without filing for citizenship? Listen, there is always a risk if you are not a US citizen of being deported if you only have a green card. You have to understand that. Million things can go wrong, sometimes out of the blue. You can be accused of a crime, placed in removal proceedings. You may have to remain out of the United States for a long time through no fault of your own, through circumstances of not related to you at all, and you may lose your citizenship. Sometimes the government also may dig back into your background and find that there is a mistake. And that mistake may not even yours, theirs mistake. And they will try to take the green card status away. It's crazy. For that reason, I always recommend, if you have an opportunity to file for citizenship, please file for it to avoid these horrible situations that some people are going through when they've been green card holders for 20 years, never filed for citizenship, and then they find out that they have to leave the United States because, government deported them. So it's very important to understand that there's significant risk involved if you don't file for citizenship, okay? Sometimes there is a risk when you file, and sometimes there is a risk when you don't file. Okay, hi, Kiki. Married, U.S. citizen, I-130 approved 6 months ago. Yesterday was reopened. Is it normal? Still waiting since 2023. They reopened the approval of I-130. Thank you, Alex, very much. That's not good news. If they reopened approved petition, usually it means they want to make a new decision and deny it. Otherwise, why would they reopen it? Okay? So something is happening there. I'm not sure what. Consult with a lawyer right away. See what's in your background could have triggered this. Previous marriage cases, Adam Walsh Act, that's in the background of the petitioner. Not sure. Some fraudulent evidence. Sometimes people just really do silly things, like they print these bank statements that don't exist, forging them, or submit even forged tax returns. It's crazy. For that reason, USCIS, for example, always asks that you submit not only tax returns, but tax transcripts. Even though, trust me, for the federal government, it's pretty easy to figure out whether or not you file taxes together. But guys, you don't need to do that. If you truly live together, don't boost your evidence with false things, because they're going to hurt you. Okay, they're going to hurt you in the end. So don't do that. Rather, be patient, accumulate true evidence, then file if you truly just don't have enough. Okay. One way to go around lack of evidence for a marriage-based green card is to ask your friends or family members or US citizens or green card holders to give you very detailed affidavits in support. I-130 form instructions to it, they exactly direct you to do that. Okay. Hi, Ben Hemkins. Someone who came with European travel documents by P1 case to the United States. What is the question? Can someone come with European travel documents by P1 case to the United States? European travel document, what do you mean by that? You have a refugee travel document or you have European passport? Of course, if you have a European passport, you can qualify for P1. That's not a problem, right? If you otherwise qualify. I particularly do not like O1, P1 visas. Why? Because they're a nightmare to file for and they're a nightmare to maintain. One little mistake is going to cost you your status. They're short term, usually you have to, relatively short term, you have to constantly file and refile to extend them. So I don't like them, okay? If you're talented, look into EB1 green card option, right? But European travel document, I'm just not sure what it is if it's not a passport, okay? Okay. I hold Australian passport. Do I need green card to work in the United States? A green card or a special visa? People from Australia actually can file for a special work visa in the United States. They have like special H-1B thing going on for them. All right. My name is Carlson. What document do I need to travel to Canada? Hi, Carlson. It depends on what status, if any, you have in the United States. Okay. If you are a US citizen, you don't really need a visa, but you do need to have proof of your status, for example. I believe US green card holders also do not need a visa. At least they haven't in the past. They didn't need in the past. They just have to show the status. And if you don't have that, you're just a citizen of a different country. It depends on agreement between your country, you're a citizen of, and Canada, what they would require for you to enter. Okay. Hi, Benham. Originally, my friend is from Afghanistan, but she has European travel documents from Italy by P1 case. Not sure what it is. Maybe they got asylum status, it seems, in Europe. Then just because they have that, they cannot enter the United States. They will need a visa to be stamped in that European travel document. Okay. I think that's what they have. It seems that's what they have. All right. Green card holder, if they travel less than 4 months, did they re-entry permit? Do they need a re-entry permit? If you're going to stay out of the United States for less than 4 months or 4 months, no, you don't have to. Re-entry permit is really for those who may stay out of the United States, I would say more than 6 months, just to be on the safe side. And if you are traveling frequently. If you're frequently traveling, from the United States, you're missing 4 months, but you do it all the time. Let's say you stay out of the United States for 4 months, you come back for a month, then again 4 months, then yes, you will need to have re-entry permit, because at the border you may still be questioned as to whether or not you're truly residing in the United States. All right. Hi, Aviator Dude. Thank you from Naples, Florida. My 601A was approved. I was documented qualified at NBC November 25. Now waiting for my interview at Rio de Janeiro. Do you know how long will it take to get that interview? I won't be able to tell you right now how long. I know that in the past it was pretty good. At some point it was a nightmare. You couldn't get an appointment. But now I think all the consulates are aiming to give it to you within 90 days. So if I had to estimate, I would say that you're going to be called for the interview pretty fast. Make sure, if you're traveling based on I-601A, that other grounds of inadmissibility would not apply to you before you leave the United States, particularly fraud, alien smuggling, claim of US citizenship. Those are the 3 very important ones, okay? Sometimes people leave the United States, they receive the I-601A waiver, but I-601A waives only one thing, unlawful presence. It does not waive anything else. And if in the past you called yourself to be a US citizen, don't leave the United States, don't even think about it. If in the past you crossed the border with someone else, even if that someone else was your family member, and the government knows about that, there are various situations when they do. They may accuse you now of alien smuggling because you traveled together and like you were smuggling your family member. It's very interesting. Happens all the time, though. And of course, if there is any indication of fraud, incorrect information, misrepresentation in connection with past immigration filings, consult with an attorney prior to leaving. You may get stuck there. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your gifts, sharing, and liking the stream. Thank you for joining. I hope you're going to sign up for my channels if you haven't done so already. And we're going to see each other again, maybe on Friday, for sure next week. Thank you very much. And actually, Friday will be a good day to give you an update, depending on how that vote in the Senate is going to turn out to be. Maybe it's going to be good, maybe it's not going to be good for immigrants. We're going to see. But again, thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.